Hey kindergarten, it's Mr. C, and I am here today with Miss I and her incredible itch. And the reason that she is here is because she wants you to notice her hand. She's going, stop. She wants you to stop because she wants to talk about safety in traffic. Now in the summertime we go outside a lot more when it's warm out. And normally I would have a lesson with you guys in the classroom about being safe when crossing the street or playing outside. And I can't really do that because we're not in school together right now. But Miss I thought it would be a good idea if we read a story called Do Not Walk. And it's about a little boy who doesn't necessarily follow the directions when it comes to crossing the street and following the directions of the stoplights. You guys know what a stoplight is, right? It's the big light when you're driving. It's on a corner and it has three colors. It has red, yellow, green. What does red mean? It means stop. The yellow means yield. That's the color in the middle of the stoplight. Yellow is yield. It means slow down. The light's going to be changing. So if you're already crossing, finish up really quick. But if you haven't started yet, you should stop and wait, okay? For the, what's the color on the bottom? Green, right? A green stoplight. That means go. Green means go, and it's safe to cross, but remember, you still have to look both directions to make sure that everybody else is paying attention to the stoplights, okay? So I'm going to read you a short story called Do Not Walk. We call it a short story because there's not a lot to it. It's only 3 pages long, okay? So this is from a book called These Are Our Neighbors. It's really old. Look at that. You can see that it's had a pretty good life and a lot of use. This book is so old that it was written before I was born, and that was a long time ago. So, but I think the story still works for today, and it has the exact same lessons that we need to know now, okay? So here we go. Do not walk. You ready, Miss I? Okay. Ted was a little boy. He lived on the same street as the twins who had just moved into town. He had just started school. Every day he went to school with Mark and Joan. They helped him cross the street. Ted did not like this. He wanted to be a big boy. He did not want Mark and Joan to help him. One day, Ted was going to school with Mark and Joan. I am going to cross the street, he said. I can do it. And away he ran as fast as he could. Mark started to run after Ted, but he could not catch him. Ted ran out into the street. The light was red and said, "Do not walk." Uh-oh. Look at that. Take a close look at that picture. What's going to happen to Ted if he's not careful? He just ran right out into the street. He's not paying attention to that red light and the sign that says "Do not walk." A bus came up the street. Cars went up and down the street. Ted stopped in the street. He did not know what to do. Toot toot went the cars and buses. Everyone looked at the little boy. The light told him what to do, but he was not doing it. Then a big car came up the street. The car had a policeman on it. The policeman jumped out of his car, and he grabbed Ted and took him back to the crosswalk. This is a crosswalk right here. That tells you in the street where you should be walking. Okay? The policeman said, "Can't you see that red light, little boy? It tells you to stop. Cars may not go on a red light. Trucks must stop. The busman must stop. They must look at the light. Little boys must look at it too. They must obey the light." Ted began to grow red in his face. He did not look at the policeman. He looked down at his shoes. After that, he looked at the light before he crossed the street, and he obeyed it. Right? Now, if that police officer had not seen Ted and grabbed him, what could have happened to him? He could have gotten hurt pretty bad, huh? Yeah. So, the stoplight, red, and the sign that says "Do not walk" are there to help you stay safe. You have to pay attention when you're going to cross the street, especially if there's a lot of traffic. And remember, you always want to look both ways. Even if you don't see a car, when that light turns green, make sure you look to your left and your right. Make sure there's I think you look to your right, to your left, and back to your right again to make sure that something hasn't come after you turned your head away. Then you may cross the street. You really should only cross the street with adults too if they're around. All right, that was a pretty informational story, right? Here's a quick poem. It's just called Traffic Light. We're waiting and we're waiting and we're looking overhead, for the traffic light is yellow, now we see it's red. We're watching and we're patient in between while we're waiting for the changing of the light from red to green. We're waiting and we're staying in the place right where we are, but now the green is showing, my mother starts the car. That's this. This is called a poem. It's one page, right? So it's short. It has a lot of rhyming in it. Not every poem rhymes, but this poem has rhymes at the end of sentences, so the words sound the same. Okay? If it were a story, it would be multiple pages, like at least, 2 or 3. But again, this was just a short poem. All right, I think that's it for today, guys. Miss I, did you enjoy listening to that story? Think she did? Yep. All right, so remember, stop, look both ways before you cross the street. Have a good, safe summer when you guys play outside, all right? Bye-bye.